Okay, for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be on STAAR review mode. This week, we are doing key features of all graphs. So we have 3 different graphs that we have to worry about. We have linears, we have quadratics, and we have exponentials. So we're going to write down notes about all of these, and you should already know these. If you don't know them, they're on the formula chart. For instance, linear looks like this, right? It's just a line. And the equation is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Okay? Quadratics have parabolas. They look like this. They can open upward or they can open downward. And the equation of a quadratic always has a square. So you can have 2. I'm going to write down both equations. One equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. There's your square. That means it's quadratic. And then the other equation is y equals a, parentheses, x minus h, close parentheses, square, plus k, where h, k is the vertex, and the axis of symmetry is x equals whatever your h is. Okay. One thing that you guys forgot about were the exponential functions. Exponential functions look something like this, where it's a growth or a decay. If it's going up, it's a growth. If it's coming down, it's a decay. And the equation is y equals a, which is the starting point, parentheses, 1 plus or minus r. If it's increasing, it's a plus. If it's decreasing, it's a minus. All over to the power of x. The asymptote is y equals 0 for this one. It's a horizontal line like this. Okay, and it's an imaginary line that approaches but never crosses. Okay, this thing is going to get really, really, really close to it, but it's never going to touch it or cross it. It's like a force field. The asymptote is a horizontal line. It's y equals. Okay? You also have to remember domain and range, and these are 2 ways to remember them, domain and range. Redox and RBT, DLR. Redox means range are the y's, and domain are the x's. Okay? RBT stands for range, is from the bottom to top. And DLR stands for domain is left to right. Range, bottom to top. Range is de abajo para arriba. Domain is left to right. Domain es de la izquierda a la derecha. Okay? These are just ways for you to remember that these inequalities are open circles, dotted lines, and these 2 inequalities are closed circles, solid line. Okay? And if we're talking about domain and range, This is going upward, right? Greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to because they're going up. This one is going downward, so that's less than or equal to. Okay? Okay, so those notes should help you or should have helped you answer the questions on the mock STAAR. These two questions were on the mock. Okay? For this one, the first thing you need to do is remember, because it's asking range, you need to remember redox. And know that range is your y's, right? Range is the y's. And you should have remembered RBT, which means range is from the bottom to the top. From the bottom, like this, to the top. Right? That's your range. Then you should have eliminated answer choices that do not have y, okay? Or in this case, it's the h of k, because h of k or f of x, those are your y's. Y is the same thing as h of k. So these that have x's, you should have crossed them out. They're not asking for the domain, they're asking for the range. Then you should have used those answer choices and graphed them. Graph your answer choices in Desmos to see which one covers this area. So all of this area, whichever one of these two covers it, that would have been the answer, right? But because they're both the same, right, they're both going from -6 to 3, -6 to 3, then you needed to remember the endpoints. Oh, so number 4, make sure that the shaded region would fit the graph, and that's what I was talking about. Make sure that that when you graphed it in Desmos, that it looks like that. And then you also have to match the endpoints. With the correct line. So when it's open circles, dotted line, it looks like this. And when it's closed circle, solid line, it looks like this. Right? So because I have a closed circle here, I need that one there. And because I have an open circle here, I need that one there. So this is -6, so -6 has to have this one. And then 3 up here has to have that symbol. Okay, let's do problem number 22. We need the range, so we're going to use the same steps here. We're going to graph this one in Desmos. And if we're looking for range, what can I eliminate? The x's, right? That's not what they're asking me for. They're not asking for the x's. They're asking for the y's. So I'm going to graph this, and then you're going to tell me if it's less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Y equals -x squared minus 2x plus 3. This is what it looks like. It's going downward, so it's less than or equal to. If you don't know that, then you need to graph the answer choices. So I'm going to graph this one, and then I'm going to graph this one. y is less than or equal to 4. Does that cover my whole graph? Yes. If I try the other one, the one that says y is greater than or equal to negative 4, okay, it's missing a whole bunch of stuff over here. It needs to cover it all. So the answer is that one, which is H. Okay, that's how I want you to do those type of problems on the STAAR. Let's go to the back page. For this one, it's asking you for the rate of change, which is the m, y1 approximately m, x1 plus b. It's asking you for the m. Okay? So on decimals, you're going to hit the plus button to add a table. You're going to fill in the table with all your points. Then you're going to type y1 approximately mx1 plus b. And since you're looking for the rate of change, that's your slope, which is letter M. Then your answer will be something. So we need to find the answer. We need to type the table into decimals and do all of this and see what our M is. Go ahead and pause the video and do what I just asked. So you go on decimals, you add the table, then you add the equation, y1 approximately mx1 plus b, and it gives you the m is 7. So that means the slope of this line, of those points that you graphed, okay, all of those points that you graphed, is 7. So the slope is 7 for that one. On the next one, it's asking for the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry. So if I draw the axis of symmetry, this is what it looks like. What number is it going through? -1. So what you should have done is you should have graphed the equation x equals j. Okay? Replace the j with your answer choices. And remember that the axis of symmetry is what divides the parabola into 2 equal parts. So we already did that. We drew it. And then you graph the lines that you graph the lines on your paper and you choose the correct answer. So if you didn't know that, I would do x equals -3, x equals -1, x equals 1, and x equals 4. And you'll see that the one that looks like that one is B, letter B. Okay, on the last one, all you had to do was graph this in decimals and see which one of these is true. Okay, that's all you have to do. So pause the video and go ahead and do this. Okay, we're going to graph the equation. We're going to graph all the points and equations, and we're going to see which one is true. So in decimals, I graphed the equation and I graphed all of these points. This one doesn't go through it. This one doesn't go through it. This one does go through it. And that red line is supposed to be the asymptote. That's not an asymptote. So the answer is B.